get going here. Okay. Master's Winston. Okay.
Understood.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Greeting.
Ready for battle.
You guys want to run a double bubble? Or are you actually going to set up?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
So talk to me about the decision to play here.
So the main idea for me playing here is that I want to like get early charge, not just for early alt charge, not just for me, but also like Zarya energy, because I can sit there, zap, and she can bubble me, and if I'm like in danger, I can just jump out back to my backline, rather
Sure.
than just dropping and trying to like walk towards them, and they can like CC me or something. I'm already there, and I can just jump out if I need to.
Okay, so you didn't want to be up here, which would be kind of a standard and traditional meta Winston spot
Yeah, I
because you
generally
drop and you
do
walk.
that,
Okay.
but yeah, I felt I wanted to change something because most of the times this is gonna go either right or left, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do lose a lot. I feel like I lose a lot of opportunities where I
Mm-hmm.
can get more early like alt charge, and I
Sure.
thought maybe in this game let me try something different.
Sure.
I like having a different position. If that makes
I'm
sense.
totally good with the concept of let's try something different, and this meta is a little different in that you're trying to soak some damage intentionally, and maybe they'll like get away too fast if you go from here. But I really feel like, if we tuck over here, like this is sort of like from their perspective, I feel like you're more likely to get sort of forced out of this position more easily and more early than you are over here. Like this isn't a good position, but neither is
Hmm.
this, and we're turning them into good positions because of what we specifically want to do. So I'm okay with this position, but like what if the rotation comes up over here? Oops. I guess we've got sort of the same problem that we had of they sort of get to do their work on you from a distance that you're not actually threatening them. And what you want is you want to be at a distance where you actually threaten them because that sort of makes them panicky and shoot you and give your Zarya more energy, right?
Okay, yeah.
As well as give you more energy, you more ult charge, etc. So I'm looking at this, and I don't dislike this, and I think you've guessed correctly in leaning towards this side where they won't be able to see you from this perspective because this is the more common
Hmm.
perspective. But they can come over top. They can come this way. Some teams will come this way and rotate in here. More should. So I'd have actually said, sure, this might be too far. This might be too obvious, but like here, you're going to be able to touch them if they try to go this way. You're going to be able to get your zap on them. If they try to rotate this way, you're going to get them in the back. I kind of feel like this is just better. You follow what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
if they
No, yeah, I
rotate this
get
way,
that.
you get them. If they go here, you'll still be able to get them in time. Okay,
Hmm.
cool. Cool.
I can bench more than you.
This will protect us.
Okay.
This will protect us.
I mean, we're definitely going to be getting pretty micro here, but we really just had to make a faster decision. So this is fine. You ultimately decide, no, Junkrat's the one I want, and I'm good with this, and you're choosing to push him while you have the bubble. But then you stop deciding to push him. You decide this is as far as you want to go, and you even back up a little, and then you sort of change your mind. And if we're backing, can we really afford to be bubbling like this?
So basically they have a Kree,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just worried if I push a little bit away from like my Anna's sight line,
Mm-hmm.
and if he stuns me, it can like just like I can just die right like ASAP because like they can just stun and keep like chain
Sure.
kill me. So I didn't want to do full commit. It was more or less I just want to like build my all charge out of it for
Sure.
the first initial fight.
Sure, no, I'm with you on that.
Uh huh.
But you have to make a decision of either so how do I put this? I'm not saying you go chase Junkrat in here. I'm not saying you go chase Junkrat over here. What I'm talking about is simply you back up here rather than going, I'm going to plant here. Because wherever you plant, wherever you actually drop this bubble is kind of a leash on you, right? Like, and that's what you run
Hmm.
into. You're not able to pursue and finish this Junkrat. And it was always quite likely that this Junkrat was either going to retreat this way or retreat this way. In either situation, you're not going to be able to finish him while staying inside your bubble, right?
Okay, I see your point. Basically, you want to like like kind of have an idea where your outer line for your bubble is, so you can like extend your area of zapping people.
Right. Like, I don't
Yeah.
mind if you decide, hey, I don't want to use my bubble here, and you instead leap out, leave, or just take cover against this. I don't mind that at all. I also don't
Mhm.
actually mind if you commit on this. It's not the most amazing commit in the world, but I don't mind you committing on this. Either with jump and bubble or with just bubble. You're choosing to commit with just bubble, except
Mhm.
this isn't very committal. Like, could you be much more passive in this committal? Like, you've now used your bubble here, and you have the exact same positioning you had before you used your bubble, right?
True. Yeah.
So, like, if I was going to use my bubble, there's really no reason. If I decided Junkrat was my target, and I wasn't too worried about if I walk towards Junkrat and he walks towards me and I bubble, Junkrat's in here. Well, you had full health when that happened, so you're not like terrified of that at this moment. I'm not saying you want to take a ton of damage, but you weren't like
Mhm.
terrified that if you took a step forward and he also stepped forward, that you were going to be, just in real trouble or anything. So this is like there's room to have been more aggressive with this, and you kind of have to be because you're sort of bubbling to hold not like a super passive, but a relatively passive space. And that's not really something we do, right? Like if we're dropping our bubble, we're either trying to confirm an elimination or we're kind of taking pretty aggressive space, right? Like when we dive in, we'll do a bubble, or maybe when we're above the other team and we drop our bubble to still cover ourselves while we're continuing to zap 3 people, something like that. You're not really doing much with this bubble, are you?
I know. Yeah. I get that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
This will protect us.
Mm-hmm. And you're waiting for the bubble. Good. And now you're done, and you're probably going to leap up. Yeah. Okay.
Barrier
Sure. That was always going to happen, but you have this. You're going to do this. You're trying to be evasive. But, like, this is already over, right? Like, you know that this fight is over. You were never going to take them. Like, you can use your bubble while you have the bubble, but as soon as
Mhm.
you'd used the bubble, you'd accomplished all you were going to accomplish, right? You'd gotten your Zarya energy, and you were never actually going to beat this Ashe, and you can't stay on the Mercy, right?
Yeah. No. It was more or less just like forcing her to drop out of the high ground. I was hoping that my
Mm-hmm.
Ana had like a line of sight on me. I mean, obviously I'm tunnel visioning
Sure,
hard over here.
sure.
So I was expecting, hey, I can maybe sustain hard like long enough for her to like drop
Mm-hmm.
and just basically like deny her high ground and
Okay.
then jump back if needed.
But at this point, we agree that we've lost, and we can't wait for our Ana anymore, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So we're gonna drop to our right, right? That doesn't look like dropping to your right.
use some
That
healing.
that looks too late dropping to your right.
Yeah.
Now, you still may have been eliminated here, but at the very least, you're tanking her attention down here for a bit longer and making her figure out, well, how am I, do I have to drop? Okay, let me look for you. Okay, I found you and I got you. You're at least keeping her tied up more effectively for longer by dropping back when you have 250 health down
Mhm.
here, and hopefully then trying to get out, than you are by sort of staying in this fight where you knew you weren't going to win this seconds ago. And again, I'm okay with trying to tie her up using your health, because if she's allowed to just exist up here, your team is going to lose, and you understand that, and that's good. But we have to actually, while distracting her, we don't throw away our life to distract her. We distract her, and then we always have our out. We always have our, well, I'll leave situation.
For sure, yeah.
Walk it off.
Sure.
New defense point.
I mean, that's sort of mechanical, but like that's sort of a, you just have to know that that's there. Like, I don't mind you mechanically messing up, but like that leap was never gonna work type thing. Like you're trying to
Yeah.
recover from a bad jump across here. Okay, that's fine. You're gonna end up leaving. So what's your team getting done while you're knocking the Zarya away? Because if you're choosing to take a tank away, you're never going to eliminate the Zarya. That's not your plan with the Primal. You're believing that you knocking this away is allowing your team to get high value done, which might be true. But what's your team doing? Like, who was your team fighting? Who was in your team's concave getting punished while you're doing this?
I was hoping while I'm doing this, like my team was either like on the ash, because like I knew I was pulling the junk with me, so I had two
Mm-hmm.
people on me. So like either the ash or ball shouldn't be that big of a concern, just because
Mm-hmm.
like he's like just running around. So like my main thing was like I hopefully the team's like focusing the ash down while I'm busy with this. If I do die
Mm-hmm.
here, I'm at least buying enough time for my team, just because they have like early spawns for them to like clear or clean the point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it does, but I want to have more certainty because you only get 10 seconds of primal time. So here you are, you're going for your primal, and maybe you're thinking to yourself, no, I need to like, no, the tire's over when you do this. So like, this is my concern that this Ash is here. Is your team really able to fight and punish this Ash right now?
Nope.
So like you primaling this way, this isn't good time for your team. Like this isn't time where the Ash is threatened or really threatenable that you're getting right now. So let's watch this from your team's perspective, because
Mm-hmm.
this is something that you sort of need to mentally be tracking. We're going, hey, I knock her down. I go do that. Okay, well like maybe your team's getting to deal with a Bob, so you're using an ult to equalize an ult, sort of. Ball not really high value. Like that ball wasn't going to be, your brig wasn't going to be in any danger from that ball regardless. Like that ball wasn't going to have a ton more support.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a little bit that's happening here. This is now okay, but where are you in your primal? So we've used 8 seconds of primal, and this is probably the beginning of like what you do being relevant. You see what I'm talking about here?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, primal too early.
Well, you didn't have the health, so I actually don't think you didn't primal too early. Like if we go back and watch your primal,
And yeah, that is true. Yeah.
I don't mind that you primaled here because, hey, health situations, hey, tire, but I want you to do something more useful than knock a tank away. I want you to either knock a tank in that your team can eliminate, or I want you to knock an Ash in that your team can eliminate, or I want you to go knock an Ash or a Mercy away that you can eliminate. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's an okay play. Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No. So yeah, I do get that, where you like just want to isolate a target that you can kill. Zarya was actually the target as well. To like, I thought that I could kill her because she was already half HP, and I was like 70% confident that I could have killed her.
Okay.
I just messed up my few jumps, like
Okay.
when it came to like juggling her. So I was
Okay.
like a little confident I could have like eliminated her and gotten back, but it's just like a little like
That's fine.
messed up when it
That's
comes to
fine.
mechanics.
If
But I do get your point. But
Okay.
like,
If
yeah.
you feel like you could eliminate the Zarya, that's fine. It's an okay
Mhm.
it's an okay primal play to go, I'm taking people out of the fight while my team is fighting, but the problem is your team wasn't actively fighting these people. So I don't want to be like that's not a valid thing if that's what you were
Mhm.
doing, and you're telling me that it's not. You're telling me that you thought you could get the Zarya position here, which that's fine. That Zarya doesn't look half health to me. Okay, so now the Zarya's at half health. And now you can continue on the Zarya if you want. And you're going to. And that's okay, but again, it took us our primal. It's predictable that Zarya's going to get bubble before we eliminate her, pretty much whatever the bubble status is. And it's
Mhm.
also, hey, we can somewhat regularly get 2 eliminations, or eliminate one squishy and have another squishy within a hair's breadth of being eliminated during a primal. So like going and spending that on Zarya instead, yes, it's theoretically doable, but
Mhm.
it's just a really big investment to go after this when how easy would it have been to not Junkrat, because Junkrat's a freaking pain to deal with primal wise, but like to go, okay, let's Mercy's annoying, but pre-primal you could have messed with her and gotten that Valk out, or you could have just been like, nah, Mercy, if you want to keep Ash alive, you're keeping Ash alive in here type thing. And it's just more like that, where it's like, okay, this disrupts them a little more and gives your team a little more chance to do stuff. Or hey, we're just gonna send Ash right into our team type thing. And again, Zarya would have been in play in that situation, but I think there was But there were better things for you to do with this Primal than go after this Zarya that was really at 70% health. Yes, you've got two people and that's good, but as we point out, that's really only for 2 seconds that you're getting that good. It's more than 2 seconds because obviously they'll have to wander
Mm-hmm.
back after they eliminate you if they do eliminate you. But the first 8 seconds of your Primal, I mean, with 8 seconds of your Primal, you effectively took down, what, 300 damage to Zarya? Okay, that's cool. But that's not as impactful as I eliminated Mercy and Ashe. I eliminated Zen and Anna. I eliminated Lucio and McCree. You get where I'm going with this, and
Yeah,
you
no,
can
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
I can bench more than you.
But yes, you did at least take them out here and got eliminated out here, so you'll actually basically be back by the time they get there, which is helpful.
Once more, reach.
You're powered up. Get moving.
Feeling power.
Yeah, I hate this too. I hate this situation too. But I'm still
I
not
knew you
going
were
to
gonna
bubble
call that, so-
here. I'm gonna walk over here, right?
So okay, even before I sent you this word, I knew you were gonna pick on this,
Of
but
course.
in my defense,
Yeah.
my main goal for this one was this. I just want to deny a damage boosted Ashe shooting just right on the point, while there's just me and Tracer left. That was literally the first thing that came in my head. I'm like,
Okay.
I don't care if I need to take cover. I don't care. I've like survived at the point. It's just the Tracer left on point. She's gonna die. I need to get back on point. I need to
Okay.
deny her damage boosted damage. So I drop the bubble, jump on the point, which I know was pretty stupid looking back at it.
Okay.
But at that point, it was like, yes, panic moment.
Okay, I understand the panic. I mean, conceptually, as long as you understand that wasn't the play, that's fine. Your play was
Yeah.
obviously to go, hey, I'll duck over here. Now my bubble's off cooldown, and now I can go, hey, let me jump in here, bubble from this direction. The Ashe still can't see me, and I get to zap these guys. Like, that would have been much better, but that's okay. Oh boy. Oh, we've used like 100 bubble HP for that. Oh. Yeah.
I can bench more than
Yeah, this is a pretty bad one.
All good.
I can bench.
Initiating. Ready for battle.
Hi there.
Attackers incoming in 30. Ready for battle. Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3,
Hello.
2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
We strike as one. Enemy coming right for us.
This will protect
Oh, I actually have a quick question regarding that jump.
Sure.
So I have been told, or at
Mhm.
least not just like by someone, like random people have told
Yep.
me that hey, when you jump in, like with the double bubble scenario, you just straight up want to land on them. You don't want to like have the lob effect of like landing on them. You want to just straight up go in. I think that's probably the worst thing to do because you don't know what's going to hit you, and Zarya bubble doesn't last that long. But with me taking like a lob effect, she bubbles me while I'm like about to land. I
So
know
talk to
what
me
I'm going
about
to
what
land
you mean when you
into.
say lob effect. What specifically are you referring
Basically,
to?
like going like high top when I jump and then
Oh yeah.
land
Okay.
land slowly. So I'm basically buying more air time, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So that helps me to like realize what's gonna be around me, if there's a
Mhm.
trap, if there's a stun, where the McCree is, stuff like that. And
Mhm.
then Zarya bubbles on my way down, and then I use my bubble and I can stay there longer. And that time also buys my cooldown to jump out if I need to
Okay.
in mid fight.
Right.
But I've been told that's a bad thing to do. You just want to go straight in if you're playing double bubble. And I just want to make sure which one is the best option.
Yeah, so it depends is going to be the answer. Now, what they're trying to get at when they're saying don't do the lob effect is they want your Zarya to get ramped on energy as quickly as possible. They're going, hey, let's go do this. Hey, you're going to have the extra survivability. And the truth is, if you're jumping into a team, not like directly in them, but the way that you'd be jumping here, you sort of
Mm-hmm.
hit a situation where you go, remember, people can shoot you while you're doing this lob in. Like, it's not like you're not going to get shot by anybody with your hang time in the air. You're not going to take a ton of damage. damage, but you will get shot at. And what they're
Mhm.
worried about is they sort of want you sort of go in faster if you jump as opposed to if you fall with this lob volley, whatever we want to call it here. Like that is
Mhm.
a thing. And what they're doing is they want maximum uptime on the bubble, because if you're sort of doing the fall, you tend to get the bubble at the roughly the same place from Zarya's regardless, which tends to be like sort of here-ish, like when
Mhm.
you're almost there, but like you're gonna fall more slowly. So what they're getting at is they're saying, hey, we want to make sure that you have maximum bubble uptime, because while the bubble is active is part of when you're at your most aggressive. That first bubble, you're still aggressive off the second bubble, definitely, but you're sort of stupid aggressive while that first Zarya bubble is in effect. So they're trying to maximize the time, because also when you're the most aggressive is when you take the most damage for the Zarya bubble, etc. So I understand where they're coming from with this, hey,
Mhm.
just go in hard type thing. And I think what you're doing is you're going, hey, I want to go here. I want to understand the situation better. Usually that means that you might get the bubble at the same time, but you'll enter the fight a little slower, which means maybe you don't get quite as much aggression, though maybe you get better conal on sort of the way in. Where was I going with this? Sorry, give me just a second to
No worries.
gather my thoughts here. Going directly versus sort of falling a little bit with it. Um, we were covering the push in versus the fall in effect there, which is fine, and as a for which to go to. And I was going to tell you which situation to do which in before my brain just fried on me. Just 1 second.
No worries.
How do I want to explain this? So here's what I'd say. I'd say in this situation, what you're probably trying to do is you probably like this fallen effect because it gives you time and you're concerned. But what I'm thinking and what I'm going to say here is I don't actually care about the fallen effect because I pretty much know what you're going to do. And what I mean by that is you can go here. You're not going to land here, right? This is not where
Mhm.
you're going to play. You're going to land like here, where if the situation gets too hot and bad, you can fall out and sort of scamper away to cover, right?
Mhm.
So if the situation is too bad and you can scamper away to cover, do you sort of need this extra time for target selection for appraising what's going to go on?
Uh, this has happened to me a lot. That's
Sure.
why I generally do. At least for my first push, I would
Mhm.
always like do this thing.
Mhm.
Just to know like what I'm going to, because like this happens so many times where I'll just go straight in,
Mhm.
even though I land on the edge. The bubble dies so
Oh
fast,
yeah,
and I get
absolutely.
stunned, CC'd, and I'm deleted within a second.
Sure. Sure.
And I had no information what even killed me. So always my first engage is I always try to do that just so I know what I'm getting into.
Mhm.
And once like you get in the flow of like continuation of bubble jump,
Yeah,
that's when I like,
it's gonna throw your Zarya's timing off a little bit because Zarya's are
uh-huh.
reading you pretty heavily off your first jump, but that's okay. Yeah, if you
Okay.
want to go with sort of the floaty jump for the very first time, what I generally
Mhm.
say is sort of there's two tiers of bubble jump. There's the first jump where you're going in, which is primarily to you try to land in front of the enemy team so that they'll shoot at you hard, and you're really trying to get your Zarya energy hard with that, and you're not committing that hard. You may or may not use your actual bubble for that committal. And then there's sort of the secondary jump, which is after Zarya has energy, and preferably after your DPS are set up on angles, which they were able to take during your first jump, and that one you're going in harder for. Now on that one, ironically, I'd actually be more generally okay with sort of the floaty jump because you sort of need to know what you're doing, and it's not so much about let me just tackle you from the front anymore. You sort of see what I'm does that sort of make sense in terms of what I'm talking
Mhm.
about there? The first one, I actually would kind of like the tackle from the front thing. But if what you want to do is for the very first jump of the match or the very first jump of the round, you want to do the softer jump, the floaty jump, and then do the floaty jump on subsequent jumps when your Zarya has energy, but then do the hard tackle on any we've been reset, we're pushing a new position type things, and my team isn't set up yet, that's probably the direction that we want to go for now. Does that make sense? And if it doesn't, that's fine. We can talk through why I'm coming to that conclusion, or
It
you
was
can
like a
be like,
50% I understood that.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay.
Okay.
So let's break this down. So in double bubble, depends on your level of macro understanding here, but in double bubble, your first jump usually is going to be a jump that is meant primarily to get you energy, get your Zarya energy, charge your and Ana's ults, and allow your DPS to take positions. You're not
Yeah.
actually expecting to get an elimination with your first jump of the match, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And then potentially with the second jump, this is a more real one where maybe we have some ults to use, but at least our Zarya has some energy, and our DPS, theoretically who took position on the previous one, can come in and punish. So far, so good?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, cool. So even though they don't always happen in that order, I'm going to call those a primary and a secondary jump. On your primary jump, you can kind of just tackle them because you want to get that energy. You're really interested in that, and you're not worried too much about putting pressure on the Ana, on the Junkrat, whatever. You're more actually interested in getting shot, and maximum cleave is good because you're trying to do stuff. So tackling their front line is pretty good for ult charge for you, Zarya, and Ana, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that I'd sort of like the tackle jump for. I'm going to make this more complicated in a sec. For your later ones, it's okay with me if you're an instant slower and you select your target because you're actually a little more surgical about that and you do want to eliminate someone, not just do max damage, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so on those secondary jumps where your DPS are set up and your backline is potentially ready to commit, we'd like to do our floaty jump. On the primary jumps, on the initial jumps, we'd like to sort of do the tackle the front line, which we can throw faster. We don't have to do the floaty thing. But let's add the wrinkle of if you've had really bad experiences with your first jump into a team, let's go. Let's make your first jump when you don't know their team comp, when you don't know where people are set up, the floaty jump. But after that, when you feel like you have a feel for it, if your team gets reset or if you have to push this multiple times because you won't always be able to do it in 2 jumps, make your further first jumps, quote unquote, the tackle type. Does that make sense?
Okay. No, yeah, I understand that. Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
makes sense.
Sorry, I know that got complicated. You can see why I'm like, how do I want to explain this?
No, yeah, no, yeah, it makes sense now. It definitely makes sense now.
Okay. There we go. Sure, except where are we in the match? This is where we are? Okay. Okay.
This will protect us.
We can leave some stuff.
Yeah,
Yikes.
just ignore that.
Okay. Okay. So, you do this. And this is sort of you just going maximum distraction. Like, this is sort of you just going, I'm going to just be distracting. And I can live with that because you're getting some work done. But again, when you drop this bubble, who are you going to eliminate with this bubble? Or who are you going to set up for elimination? Who has a very high probability of getting eliminated because you dropped this bubble? Because this is a real committal, right? Your Zarya is here and can run down and join this fight. Your Widow's in position. This is a real commitment, right? So who's going to get eliminated as a result of this bubble?
Junk, for me.
Okay.
Because Lucio can be slippery and he just like zooms
Sure.
out.
Sure. So it's going to be Junk. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously that didn't happen, and Junk moved through that, and I can live with that. What have we done? Obviously this is ladder play, and I don't really care what Zarya's doing. This is what's happening. Fine. Okay. Okay. Junk was reasonable there. I can live with that. Fine. Do I want to be difficult? I think I do.
Double kill.
Okay, you do reasonably. Little bit sloppy with your ammo on the point itself, but not a big deal. It's been an eternity since you gave your Zarya bubble opportunity. So is this going to be a real push?
So I was trying to get Nano for Anna here, and
Okay.
that's why I was waiting because I took a little bit damage. I was like, she was like
Mhm.
96 something.
Mhm.
I take a little bit damage, but like she just wasn't listening because comp.
Sure.
And by the time she did that, and we got Nano, yeah, it just took way too long. But yeah, I totally get what you're going for.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay. There's enough. Great.
Enemy reviving.
Okay. You're not hurting her anymore at 82. Not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're down to 72, so that's 10 ammo.
Now, let's go back.
Haven't hurt her yet.
Weapon system optimized.
Honestly, I don't even notice that. This is actually yeah.
Okay, we're doing damage to something again at 46. So like, that's 40 ammo that was just sort of like, maybe not. So like, again, Winston's clip really isn't that big. Like it says 100, but it gets burned through pretty quickly. It's not particularly high damage. And reloads, I'm sure you've experienced this where you're like, oh, I've almost got Mercy, I've almost got Mercy, I've almost got Lucio, and you have to reload and they get away and it's all for naught,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Always, yeah.
Right. This is how we fix that. Like,
Yep.
like we go to extreme lengths on Winston with melee weaving and cranking out every extra little bit of damage to extend to the clip, but we undo it all if we're just sort of like, I'll just wave my weapon around. Maybe Tracer's there, maybe she's not. You get it.
Yeah. No, I get it.
And that was more of it right there. Remember, once it's unhooked, it's not going to rehook on them. It can feel weird because his damage distance seems inconsistent, but it's actually not. It's just that it stays hooked on people for a little bit if they leave range, if they don't extremely leave range. So once your tether has unhooked from someone, unless you actually get closer to them without them also getting the equidistant further away, you're not going to rehook onto them, so it's time to stop shooting.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about the Primal. Here we go. You're going for the Primal because you want to finish him. No problem. He's gone. And you have 8 seconds left, so you can definitely get another elimination out of this. The spawn room makes things more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Everyone, on
Why
the
would we go
objective.
this way? Like, we see this. We see that our tracer just went to our right, though we may have missed it in real time. We definitely see that our tracer is there now. So we definitely want to go this way, right? Like, we might leap here because it's going to sort of boop them further against the wall, both with our land and with our swing. If we go here, these guys are going to go this way. If we go here and Mercy gets a target over there coming out of spawn, she's going to go to it, right? If we're
Yep,
here,
yeah.
she probably does, she might still go to that target, but we've got another chance to mess that up, right? And we contain her
Mhm.
better, and we've got our crossfire. This was just a mistake in terms of decision of where to go.
Everyone,
Yeah.
No,
on
yeah,
the
totally.
objective.
Fine. Right. But why though?
Yeah, that. Yeah.
I mean, you know you're never going to break her bubble. Winston just can't do it by himself, so you can turn around and zap the ball if you wanted, but this is silly.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like, you're making her do more damage, you're spending ammo that we've established you might actually need to take her down. Huh, I wonder if that would have been the difference in taking down the ball. The world will never know. Okay.
Onward and upward. Hello.
I mean, do you have any desire to be peaking this right now? Like, I can deal with you having taken some space, but like, do you have actually any desire to be this deep right now? Because you're scouting right now. You're combining your scouting and your staging, but scouting time as Winston costs you health, right?
So over here we had a plan to like hard commit on the back line. So that's
Okay.
why I was taking a different angle while our
No, I'm
ball
good
was
with
gonna
that.
go in.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was just gonna jump right in, but yeah, like by the time that happened, I think backline was hit with I don't know. There was something happening with the backline, and we were already committed on the point, and
Okay.
yeah.
My issue is actually just that you're up here. If you were down
Okay.
here or even here, I don't have an issue. My issue is
Okay.
you're up here doing like real scouting, and real scouting means you're going to get poked out as Winston, and
Yeah.
your ball might do a quick roll through and launch himself onto the point, but
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take him a second. And your tracer, unless they're investing blinks to cover blank space, is at least 2 seconds from being ready, and I think your ball is probably about half a second to a second from being ready, and you're now in a stage where you're spending health. And the way to avoid
Yeah.
this was literally while you were here, which was more neutral space as opposed to opponent space, was to go, I'm
Mm-hmm.
still in neutral space. Let me literally just turn and look through the walls at where my teammates are. And I can tell Tracer isn't ready yet because that's dark room, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's all.
I get that. Yeah.
And now you're going in, and again, your Tracer now is just getting here, which is like, okay, this is sort of okay. You kind of got lucky in how long it took them. They didn't cost you as much health as you should have, and your ball's going to be here at the right time. Tracer's going to be a touch late, but you kind of got lucky that you didn't spend more health here. Okay. I'm not sure why you would have turned to look at them here. Like, I see this happen. I can live with some of the, like, you get bounced around stuff. But, like, I look at this, and we're definitely not turning our crit box towards them, right?
Yeah. This was
Okay.
definitely a mistake.
Okay.
Not the enemy. Fire reporting.
Name's McCree.
God, I hate that line.
Ah. So it's working, is what you're saying.
It's just so annoying. It's like constant.
Heroes never die.
This is a very one-dimensional push. What was this? Okay, you can't do anything with this. You're getting some scouting information. Fine, whatever. Why are we still here? Like, we know we're not going to get much better information than we got in the first half second in this remaining second that we spend out here, are we?
So I generally do this when I know we're close to a nano.
Because you're trying to charge Nano. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't love it. I consider it like a C level strategy, but Owl uses C level strategies. So hey, we'll go with it. That's fine.
Okay.
Heroes never die.
And then because you guys got the pick, you're choosing to push in, but none of you have any angles. Unfortunate. Okay. What are we gonna do with this leap? Not that, I hope.
Damn, I do waste a lot of ammo. That is, yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
noticing
you
this.
definitely do.
Yeah.
On the objective.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So obviously we have half the game left. Things that are obviously going to jump out at us in terms of things that we've seen. We've obviously got this ammo management, which is causing some unnecessary reloads, which is missed damage, etc. We have some bubbles like this one. This one I don't actually care about because it's underground, etc. But like we have some bubbles where it's like, okay, I would like to know who you are threatening a very real elimination on with basically every bubble. And the biggest complaint is going to be the bubble that happened right here that was like,
Yeah.
yes, tell me more about that one. But even
Definitely.
this one where it's like, oh, well, my answer is Junkrat. Is it? Are
Hmm.
you really threatening an elimination on Junkrat? I don't care that he went to sub 30 health. I don't think you were really threatening an elimination on him, type thing. So like that's what we want. We're either threatening an elimination, or we're using it specifically to zone someone. Like if there's an Ash up here and you use a pocketed Ash up here and you use your bubble while fighting her, I don't care because you're specifically zoning her, not letting her contribute to the team.
Hmm.
You're fulfilling a different role in that situation. But I am going to want to level up your consciousness of your bubbles a little bit here. And then the final thing would be, you haven't been terribly effective with your primals. And don't get me wrong, there's been good peel for these primals. There's been Zarya bubbles, there's been Mercy's paying attention. But what does it mean when there's good peel for your Zarya or for your primals?
Like they're basically just like not letting me do like what I should be doing with my primal. They're just like constantly just helping them
Right.
to like
But if
survive. Yeah.
that's happening, it means that that peel isn't going elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
So are a lot of eliminations happening during your primals?
Definitely not in this game. Yeah.
Right. So like that should be causing you a bit of an alarm bell. Like I
Hmm.
expect to see one, almost two eliminations happen, because if there isn't an extreme amount of peel, you can force two eliminations on squishies with Primal. And if that's prevented because there's an extreme amount of peel, Mercy Pocket plus Zarya Bubble plus things like that, either you're doing poor target selection, or your timing is when your team isn't able to punish the rest of their team well enough. And we saw for one of those that was definitely the case, where hey, your team can't really take the fight while you're fighting the Zarya over here. We didn't go
Hmm.
look what was happening while your team was fighting over here. We saw, there was a mistake in the direction, but I don't remember a ton of eliminations happening on point while you were playing with these two. Do you?
No.
Okay. Cool. So those are the three things that are on my mind right now, and probably the
Hmm.
easiest, the most direct to fix is, hey, pay more attention to when you're
Score.
electrifying the air. Like, that's probably the easiest fix. The other are a little more
Yeah.
conceptual, we'll say. But let's keep going.
A quick question before that.
Shoot.
Initiating
So is
match.
it okay to like primal and zone a damage boosted Ash, Kree, or whatever while they are in moth form?
Well, they're in moth form? Sure.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to be pocketed, it's going to drag the moth, and you're probably not going to be able to swap and eliminate the moth,
Hmm.
unless they mothed as a result of you pressuring them, in which case, absolutely primal and finish them. But yes, it's okay to say, hey, I'm going to take this out of the fight, because that leads them in a situation where either you're going, I'm trading primal for Valk, and I'm really okay with this. Yes, I am okay with that trade as long as their Valk isn't getting other value. I have an issue if they're able to keep their Ash alive and go back and help their team and come back and still keep the Ash alive. Like you're making mistakes if that's happening. But if they're like
Hmm.
dedicating during basically your whole primal time to keeping the Ash or the McCree or the soldier or whatever alive, that and you get out alive, you obviously don't get crushed. That's going to be fine because you are really trading up ults there. Make sense?
So even though if I'm exchanging my health pool for whosoever is getting damage boosted as an alt charge, that you yeah, just even though just because the Mercy is just like constantly on her in moth form, I'm draining the resource from the rest of the team, so it's fine. What that
Right.
exchange?
She's not
Okay.
getting to use a strong Valk initiation where she's boosting her whole team. You're effectively taking away her Valk and you're zoning out two people, right? So like you're
Okay.
using your ult, you're canceling out her ult, and you're not letting the Ash contribute. And it would be reasonable if like your team was pushing here and there was an Ash up here for you to
Hmm.
go up here and your contribution to be that you zone the Ash out. Like it wouldn't be amazing, but that would be reasonable if while your team was fighting, while your team was actually pushing, you went, well, I'm zoning the Ash. I'm not beating her. She's not beating me. I'm zoning her. That would be a
Hmm.
reasonable contribution, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Well, you're doing that plus zoning the Mercy plus canceling out the Mercy's ult for the cost of your ult and doing the normal thing. So it's a slight up even over that.
Okay.
Sounds okay, good.
Yeah.
Ready for
Imagination
battle.
is the essence of discovery.
I mean, let me put this another way. If you primaled and jumped on a Anna and just about eliminated them and they got saved with beat, would you feel like it was a successful primal?
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
kind of what we're talking about, right? Like,
But then,
go ahead.
the Anna isn't like getting that much alt charge out of me though. and she's not actually threatening my life during my primal, if that makes sense.
Okay, but what if you did the same thing to the McCree? I mean, the McCree's can do a fair amount to you. Yes, you could leave after you got the beat out. That's true.
Hmm.
And I do understand what you're saying in terms of, hey, they're charging some ult back up in return there. And that sucks, but you are getting a little more than just zoning them. I mean, you are getting also, you're zoning two people effectively and canceling out and trading ults. So it is still a net a little bit of an upgrade there, even though,
Okay.
yes, they're going to be charging ult off of you.
All right, makes sense.
It's good to be working with you again, Dr. Ziegler.
And under better circumstances.
Ready for battle. Ready. 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
That feels aggressive. Okay, so here you are. You're going in for your first one. Sure, no problem. You're backing out. Why do you feel you can go back in here? You're not going to have either bubble and you know it. So, like, what's your thought? Do you just know that they're hard retreating for your tracer? Because they're sort of retreating for your tracer, but there's a fair amount of presence here for you to still go in. Is it just that you have the Anonade and your tracers on point? Like, what's your thought process on why you can leap in right here? Wild Beast, you're muted. I don't know if you mean to me.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
All good.
So yeah, my thought process was over here is that, hey, I'm not fully committing. I'm still not fully committing. It's just more or
Right.
less I'm kind of pocketed,
Mhm.
and they're distracted because of the tracer, and they're giving me space for the high ground that
Yep.
can be used for either my Zarya or Anna once this is cleared off. So I was just like
Okay.
taking space for like what they were giving me.
Right. So you went, hey, the tracer turned some of them around, and I know that. This is still going to be a very shallow jump that I can retreat off of. We've got some stuff going on over here. I feel I can do it. Plus, I have the nade on me, so I know I'm getting some attention paid to me. So you're just going culmination of the factors I can do this. Okay. And then they retreat further, which makes us happy. Okay. So, this is a little dicey. What's the status of Zarya's projected bubble right now? And I'll replay this
Probably
if you like.
4 seconds.
Okay. So here we are. We're doing this. Okay. So, turns out the status of it is, 6 seconds here, so you're pretty close. Fine. And you're going up to get it to her again. Okay, that's fine.
Hello there.
This is fine, obviously. You're trying to use it. You realize that this is over. So, it's kind of time to leave this, though, right? Like, why was this jump ever safe?
I honestly didn't even realize that Anna died. That was me at hard tunnel visioning.
Okay, okay.
I thought Anna was still alive and we can still like at least keep the space we had. But I tunnel vision. I had
But
no clue
even
Anna
if you
died.
have your Anna, is this really like, yeah, you're going to have your bubble. Yeah, you can probably do this if your Anna is alive. I guess if your Anna is alive, you can challenge for this, all right? Yeah, okay. I mean, you're sort of demanding your Anna's attention right now, but you sort of get to do this in that comp, so okay.
This will help. I am on fire. Taking the point.
60 seconds remaining.
Double kill. Anyone want to join?
Hey.
Objective A captured.
Hi there.
Defense point. Objective B. 60 seconds.
Feel better soon.
Oh, here again, I'm trying to like just beat Nano. If
Okay.
yeah, just more to let you know.
Okay. I appreciate that. I'm not sure I want to feed Nana right now. Why don't I want you to feed Nana right now?
Like right now,
Yeah.
because they're committing alts. I mean, we have rally.
Because you have rally, go away.
Honestly,
Like, I don't really want to charge
yeah.
Nana right now. I just want to go. And I might not go because my team might not be ready, but, like, this is sort of I don't want to delay our going based on having to wait for Anna to heal me up either. So I'm looking at this and going, you're like charging Nano, like Nano is going to be your green flag, your go button. But you already have rally going, and that would sort of be your green flag. That's sort of your go. Like, you should already be going. Now, you're not because you're dealing with ball, and that's fine. But if that's the case, what do you know? It's pulling away everyone's attention. You don't want them to then have to heal you up before you can go while your rally's ticking down, do you? Like, it was an early
No,
rally.
yeah.
It was,
Mhm.
and that makes this hard. But I don't need to charge this. Like, we already have a go button. Your Nano's going to come up in the fight during the power play of your rally, and then she can use it, or she can continue the power play with it. Oh, lovely. You're just giving me another bubble to comment on. Okay.
Oh, okay. This is for the high noon, though. In my defense.
I know.
I still died though.
I know.
So yeah, it was a waste.
Oof. Wait, why did Ball not get credit for that?
He should have. Like that was right at the edge of the bubble. I don't know.
Like, I'm just like, that's like, I'm just looking at the assist credit there. He got robbed.
Time players never get love. Don't you?
What's that?
Time players never get love, you know?
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I definitely agree. That I do make a lot of like stupid double decisions.
Yeah, and it's fine. We just need to make sure you're aware of it, and that you can sort of make it something kind of simple in your head for what you need to work on. I don't want to be like, your bubbles are bad. I want to make sure at the end of this you feel like this is a specific piece of my bubbles that I need to work on.
Yeah.
You're getting the Primal, unfortunately. Okay, so we're going to slow this down just to narrate. We're going to hit the Creed, fine, and we get our multi-hit there. That was nicely done to keep him in the wall. This was a little less good because you're sort of juggling him outside of your ability to do damage. So I really like this. Boom, no problem. We hit him with that. We go across here and we get the double hit. And that is beautiful. That is beautiful Winston tech right here. But this is where I get less happy. So is he like one hit from being eliminated?
No.
So if you hit him again and you hit him again where you're sort of below him, it's going to knock him further up, isn't it? And you can't really get landing damage on him when he's that high in the air, can you?
Nope.
So we don't actually want it. We're actually going to get more total damage if we let him fall a bit rather than rush, which is what you do, our next hit here. Because now it's like, oh, oops. And now you still clearly want him, but it's like, well, where's he going to go? And you rushed your leap too. Like, okay. Like,
if I was good enough in a case where I could just like have him suspended in air and just keep juggling, would that been a fair?
If you could have kept him against this wall without any corner to assist you, if you could do that, that would be fine. If you're maximizing hits, you're constantly getting, hit type stuff on him, etc. I wouldn't consider that real though. Like if you had a corner to work with, even if you had like half a corner, like, and I don't need like a perfect thing like this, even like a half thing like this, something to work off of, like even this sarcophagus where it's a little curved maybe, but you're not going to keep him against this. And if you're still going to want him to fall a little bit so that your hits aren't sending him further up out of your range. You follow what I'm saying? Like all I need you to do is let him fall about to your chest height so that you're not sending him up, you're just sending him laterally. And then then you're like, well, I think I know where he's going. Why is this a regular jump rather than a short jump? Like, what? Huh? Like, you didn't have to jump at all, but if you were going to jump, it was going to be an S key jump that puts you
Yeah.
like here or puts you like here type thing.
No,
This,
yeah.
whereas
Okay,
this is
that
a
makes
medium
sense.
jump, so yeah.
Yeah.
And you're halfway through your primal, and you should have a McCree elimination right now. So you should be right on schedule. But you're not because you made some mistakes. Now, you had a really good tech to open it where you got the double hit as you were going by him. That was great, but then we threw it away.
Yeah. No, yeah. Get that.
Primal is very unforgiving for, I almost have it, I almost have it, I almost have it. It's all gone.
No, yeah.
Ready for battle.
Okay.
I'm going to find a
I
way
have to say, Wild Beast worked a little better as a Winston name than it did as a Sigma name, but at least your Sigma sort of looks like a motorcycle rider there. Not like this, but like in his
True.
portrait, at least he sort of looks like those are motorcycle goggles and such.
Attackers
Yep, yeah.
incoming in 30 seconds.
I'm going to own all these noobs. I can't wait to get into the fight.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Kind of far. Sure. Okay. Why are you here? Like, what are you getting by being here as opposed to here?
Trying to be a little bit closer to get more like the poke hits.
Okay. It's a little bit of a reach. I know it's right at the edge of Sigma's effective range, but like there's a what you're getting versus what you're giving up thing. Like, I don't really want you to be softened up too bad before they get in. I do want you to put some poke pressure on them, but you're a little far from your cover here. You're in a situation where you're potentially going to be forced to use your shield or your shift or that sort of thing, and I don't love that. I'd have preferred you play a little tighter on the cover. That's okay.
Okay.
Activating the barrier.
That was kind of predictable. So here we are.
Activating the barrier.
We see this. You pull it back immediately. Okay. Are there micro missiles?
She was using micro missiles, but I think I was just too late for grasping.
Activating the barrier.
What did she not?
Wrong diva. Oh yeah, okay, looks like she's using them. Let's take a look. She just cancels them immediately when you do. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Oh no, she didn't even cancel them. They got hacked out.
She
Okay,
got hacked,
you're right,
yeah.
you're right.
Okay.
Cool. I can live with that.
That was a panic rock.
I was gonna say, like, that's you need to survive until you get shift. Now you have lamp. Now you shift. Fine. You got stuck. Okay. Fine. Where's the new cover gonna be? Good.
Pattern.
What was this shift for? Was it?
Uh,
Go ahead.
for just to like survive any extra damage, because I think my shield was like half or something. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
close to half, so I just didn't want it to break, and I just pulled it. Hopefully, I pulled it back, and just
No,
try to
no,
get
no,
out of
no.
there.
You're not your shield. Your shift right here. Is it the Junkrat spam? Like what caused this?
I think it was the something. Yeah, the Lucia booped me. I was just worried I was just gonna go too deep because of the boop, so it was just like a, hey, if there's any extra damage coming at me, I can just absorb it rather than getting hit by it, because the shield was on like already half HP. I just didn't want to use
Sure,
it
sure.
to
No, I get
break.
why you didn't want to use it, but you also
Uh-huh.
like you still have most of your health, right? You're not actually in a
Mhm.
health standpoint issue here.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at this and I'm just kind of going, I see this. I see that the diva's here. You've got your friends with you. There's
Mhm.
nothing there. I see the explosion, but I'm looking at this and like, whatever. Yeah, I would have preferred to hold that because
Okay.
now you can freelance a little bit. But that's okay.
Okay.
Sing for me.
You want that one back?
Actually, this is where I would be like, this is a good place to talk about.
Okay,
There are two things I'm trying to do here.
sure.
One is I knew there was there definitely a mercy and someone else high ground.
Hmm.
Second, I know there's mines on the point.
Yep.
So now I was like, okay, I'm avoiding the mines. I want to instantly take the high ground and try to like kill whosoever my teammate is fighting up top
Hmm.
with the ult. That's
Hmm.
my like what I was going for.
Sure. Okay, so you're thinking there's enough factors to validate this, even though I have no idea who I'm fluxing. I know there's someone up there.
Sing for
Hopefully, I'll be able to
me.
flux them, and I do need to get out of this minefield. You don't really need to get out of this minefield because you're at
Hmm.
the edge of the minefield, so like that's a little bit minimal to me. These two are
Okay.
fine. You can be worried about, hey, are my guys going to be okay up here? But I really don't like I'm fluxing, and let me come around this corner and chase you and like come up here because the mercy's instantly gonna go away if you come up here, so like I'm gonna have to like come flux you guys in here. It's gonna be an eternity in Overwatch time before you can threaten this room with your flux, right?
Even though I'm using it to like get the mercy and whosoever is next to her in the flux,
I
I'm
mean,
kind of
I
confused. I'm sorry. Like,
sure, sure, sure. So like
yeah,
I don't think you're gonna get the mercy. I think if you try to do the flux on the mercy, she's gonna laugh at you and GA into the room, right?
yeah. I can definitely see that happening for
Right.
sure.
And if you know that there's someone else up here who's not very mobile, like a Cree or something standing right here, sure, maybe. But
Hmm.
like, I'm looking at this and I'm going, you're here. You don't know that there's opponents standing here for you to get other than Mercy, who's hypermobile. So you're potentially going to have to flux into this room. And in order for you to flux into this room, it's going to take you like 2.5 seconds to get to a point where you can reasonably flux into this room, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I don't particularly like that because like you've tried to chase people down with fluxes before, I'm sure, and it's like you're playing whack-a-mole, like no, let me go catch you type thing, etc. Like you don't have that long to make your flux work, and you don't really know what the situation up there is going to be like 2.5 seconds from now. So I'm not a fan because this minefield wasn't
Okay.
really threatening you, and it's just like you're you're ulting without a target in mind other than mercy, and we know that you're not actually going to get the mercy. You have to get the thing that the mercy would go to, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. But I'm not trying to chase someone in the room. That's why I was trying to place the center of the eye
Mm-hmm.
at the door. So like, okay, this is like I'm like hoping
Sure,
that whosoever she's flying to is right next to the door, and
sure,
hopefully I get that. But my main is okay. I get the mercy in the flux. Hopefully, I'm like this is like straight up like
sure,
I hope that she doesn't fly back
sure,
to out of my thing. So I put the center at the door. That means I'm at least covering maybe one third of the room,
sure, sure.
and while my teammates are pushing them from the other side. So
So you
I'm not
think
trying
they're
to
being
chase
herded?
them at the
No,
door.
that's fine. You think they're being herded, and that does make it better because
Yeah,
the direction your team is pushing from. Yeah, no, that
yeah.
does make it better. I
Okay.
think you'd probably recognize from your own description. There's a few too many hopefuls for Flux,
Yeah.
which is a
No.
pretty good
Yeah.
ult to be being invested. But
Oh,
okay,
for sure. Yeah. No, I agree with that point. Or yeah.
and you do get this one. Okay, good. We could get into target selection here. I mean, you did this. You know, just based on the relative health, that like, hey, Mercy is very eliminatable here. I get that you're more worried about the Kree, but your solution to being worried about the Kree is your barrier. Not necessarily your rock, but okay. And I probably don't want to shift there either. Like, I totally get that you're in your mind, this is a trained reflex. Kree is about to fan you, about to flash fan you, etc. So you're thinking shift. I'll get the fan. It'll be a lot of health.
That was for
But
the stun.
what's that?
That was for the stun.
Right.
The shift.
Sure. But your barrier would block the stun too at this moment. He can walk through
Okay.
your barrier, but it would block it too. And I'm really interested in finishing someone off before Mercy regains health or is able to heal people, right?
Okay. Yeah. But yeah. No.
And
Yeah.
you can't really hurt people. If you do this, it's saying, mulligan, let's start over. I'm going to try to get some health from you guys. Mercy's going to heal people up, but we're mulliganing, right?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
really want to mulligan after my flux because they're all at half health. Yeah. Yes, that's incredibly micro, but you're in Masters. We're gonna get micro.
Oh no, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, of course. I generally do that a lot with Krees. Like I try to bait out their. It's actually the
flash.
I generally try to bait out their stuns and fan hammer. Mostly stuns, not even fan hammer. Mostly
Yep.
stuns when I know they're predictable and running towards me
Mhm.
with my shift, because it's. Let's say it's easier to like eat it rather than
Sure.
blocking it with the shield. That makes sense.
Oh, I agree. I agree. It is easier.
Yeah.
And
So I try to bait that out and then shield and boom, boom, boom.
Oh
try to
yeah,
finish
no,
them
it
off.
looked like a trained reflex to me. It looked like you've
Yeah.
trained yourself specifically to do that, and I totally
Yeah.
understand why. But this is one of those I would like to override this instinct that I've trained
Okay.
situations.
All right, get that.
Haven't had enough?
No, run, Sigma, run faster. Okay.
Serve the barrel.
Huh. So I'm with you. You're playing bridge because of range. Now there's a Lucio. Okay. Where do you want to be while fighting this Lucio?
One of the corners for sure.
You got it. Not
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Still not here.
Hello. Bad guys, heads up.
It's the after turn. Time to make my ATM.
Okay. So we're sort of adjusting. Like you were playing here, and we don't love that, but you're trying to do it to get that extra little bit inch to your range, and then you're
I don't
pushing
need
up,
that though.
and then you're pushing up here, which I can live with.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna push up here, like let's actually do what Diva did and actually go to here or actually go to here. If we go to here, we can back up through here, or we can go here, and if we really have to, we can drop out. Like I don't want you hanging out there though.
Yeah, I get
Okay.
that. Is it even worth doing this poke though? Even though I have an alt, I don't think I should be doing this anyways.
I don't hate it, and the reason I don't hate it is you still do want to make it like it's not poke isn't all about getting your ult. Poke is about it's harder for them to advance through, and we're perfectly happy to make it harder for them to advance because our spam will combine in ways that we don't necessarily expect to get elimination sometimes. So I don't mind
But me
this.
pushing forward, like closing the distance on them rather than holding the defensive side.
Yeah, I'd have preferred you to hold the defensive side.
Yeah,
To be
okay,
perfectly
yeah.
honest, yes.
Activating the barrier.
Just because your forward hold positions are quite a bit weaker than. Are you worried about a stun? Like, why are you keeping the pillar between you? Okay.
Just trying to go around.
Okay, got it. I was like, do you think that diva is a McCree and they're gonna flash you, or a hog or something? Like, what's going on here?
I was just trying to like make sure like is she landing that side, this side? I was, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna do that yet. You've done this a few times. Who's looking at you right now?
That's what the diva I was trying to put a shield
You're
for.
trying to peel for the diva. Okay.
Yeah. So I was trying to put it in between him and
Yep.
the
And
Kree.
now it's worked out for you. No problem. Where was the shift, man? Where? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Pull it back. Predictable advancement, reasonable rock, less good barrier. Like, it's got 700 health, so I don't particularly mind. Yeah, you've only got 17 overshield right now. Okay.
Step rider. Let them alone. It's the barrier.
Draw.
Okay. So I'm less worried about your Sigma. You only spent half of a round effectively on Sigma here. We can still talk. We still did talk a little bit about your Sigma. We had our discussion about this. We had a discussion about you're just a little too willing to go, hey, let me play out in the open. Remember, Sigma is pretty happy to go. He has that silly little reload animation between, he'll throw 2 rocks and then he does that. And we really do like to have something that we can operate around for that. We're sometimes going to stay in the open during it, and we might put our shield up so that we're a little faster. We might do things during that, but we're pretty happy to sort of have a bit of a metronome to us of like, okay, I peek, I throw 2 orbs, I unpeek. I peek, I throw 2 orbs, I unpeek. I peek, I throw 2 orbs, I throw my shield up, I throw 2 more orbs, I throw 2 more orbs, I rock, I pull my shield down, I unpeek. Like, we're pretty happy with a metronome type thing like that, and I'm not saying that that's what you have to do all the time, but you should have cover available so that you can do that. You can be annoying without being quite so that. So I'd like you to pay a little bit more attention for where you wandering as Sigma. Like on your Winston, that's not a huge deal because yes, Winston still cares about his cover, but once Winston is in the fight, Winston is like, well, I'm just going to have to operate. I'm going to have to do stuff. Sigma shouldn't really be in the fight until it's a cleanup type period or until they've gotten in his face, and he'd like to have this cover a little more front of mind for this stuff. Again, I can handle it if you're going, I got to get a little aggressive for my orbs to reach, etc. I can handle a little bit of that, but whenever it's an option, you want to operate more tightly on cover than you are. Because yes, it's great that you've got your shields, your barrier, and your shift all as defensive things, but you still need cover to operate around to let those things recharge, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'd get into for Sigma. You have a couple panic rocks, but I don't care too much about that. Winston is probably, you spent the majority of the match on that. Again, the easiest thing will be the electric air there. I think you probably didn't see that before, and now that you've seen it, you'll be like, oh my goodness, and that
Oh
won't be
yeah.
too hard for you to fix. The second thing that we would get into would probably be those primals. And the primals were okay. It's not like, oh my god, these are trash tier primals or anything. And we could go a couple different directions with your primals. What I would say is I'd probably start with making sure that your team is really, really relevant and your team has something to do when you're primaling. Because we could get into trying to get a little more efficiency, a little more damage out of your primals, a little more stuff like, hey, let the McCree fall down, things like that. But I'm actually at this point more interested in your primals and really a better check of, okay, sometimes you're going to have to do it to save your life, and that's fine. But even as you're primaling, you sort of need to be taking stock of, is my team able to fight someone? If my team isn't able to fight someone while I'm primaling, I better bring them someone to fight. That's sort of my first priority. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, because you were seeing like, okay, there's 8 seconds of your team's not really fighting someone. Here's 2 seconds, or here's 5 seconds of you working on Mercy and Zarya back here, and Tracer comes and helps you for part of it, but I'm not seeing your team get eliminations. So just a little more judgment of what's going on there. If you're using an aggressive offensive primal, you should be able to check where your team is before you're doing it. If you're having to react to save your life, well, one of the first things that you should check for is, should I bring something to my team? And then what's the last thing that I'm going to talk about? I'm asking you.
Oh, for my monkey, probably the my engages. No, the
No,
bubble, the
the
bubble, the
bubbles.
bubble, the
Yes,
bubble. I forgot about
yes,
it. Yeah.
yes. So what is my humming and hawing about your bubble sound like?
For what I got from like the session
Yep,
overall is that I want to make sure wherever I'm bubbling, I have a target I want to focus and I have that much space I can play with.
yep,
And basically, that if I'm bubbling, I'm making sure that okay, I am in this fight. I have this person in front of me, and this is my engage. Like
yeah.
that's what I'm going for.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah.
So those are the things, and I sort of gave you 4 things between 2 different heroes, and I do not want to overwhelm you. But I think what you get the most benefit from working on, and what'll be the simplest to work on first, is going to be the ammo management for your Winston and the cover stuff for your Sigma. I think those will both be pretty easy for you to implement.
Hmm.
The other stuff is a little more nebulous, a little more harder to get like into the specifics, harder to iron specifically, but you will be able to spend a bit more time on those after you get the sort of lower hanging fruit of the first two there. Does that sound good?
Oh yeah, definitely. That makes
Cool,
sense a lot.
cool. Okay, then if you have any questions, let me know, but otherwise I think we're good to go.
I think you pretty much answered most. Yeah, you asked like all the questions. I just can't think of anything.
All good, all good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one like in comp wise general question
Hmm.
is that like again like I flex a lot based on like what my team
Hmm.
is playing, and is that like I'm still not sure, is that a good thing? Because I do prefer playing off tank. Like don't take me wrong, monkey is one of like the funnest
Sure,
main tanks I do enjoy playing, and like I am probably like the best out of like all the main tanks.
sure.
But I generally do swap around based on what my team is playing. Should I just stick with what role I prefer and I want to just
So
go with when it comes
it's
to comp,
tough.
or
It's tough because you're starting to get to the point of the ladder where the meta gets enforced a little harder. For like any other
yeah.
class, any other role, I'd be like, forget it. Just play the heroes that you want to work on, which in your case would be, the Sigmas, the Zaryas, etc. Just play them. It's a
Hmm.
little tougher in the tank role specifically. Because like it is very punishing to not play a real tank line. It is very punishing to not play that, especially in these higher levels. If you were, in plat or whatever, I'd say, yeah, just force it. You'll be fine. Here, what I'd probably do is I would say you should be selfish and you should lock the hero that you want to be playing, that you want to be working on. If that's Sigma, if that's Zarya, if that's Diva, so be it. Lock that hero. But while you might play a little bit of a game of chicken,
Hmm.
I would be more receptive in the tank role to giving up if the other guy also locks Diva when you locked Sigma, for example, and going, fine, I'll play Reinhardt. Fine, I'll play Hammond. Fine, I'll play Winston. You absolutely do not have to. You can absolutely climb higher, forcing your picks. You 100% can climb higher than you currently are, forcing
Hmm.
your picks. But you're going to, about 400 SR from now, get to a point where it gets really, really hard to do that. Is sort of what I'd say there.
Okay, no, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I would be more aggressive in being less. I would be more aggressive in asserting your pick and trying to grab your pick quickly and seeing if the rest of the comp will adjust around it, because you want to improve your improvement time. You want to get the most out of your improvement time and not be distracted playing 6 different heroes or 4 different heroes that aren't heroes you're focusing on, because that does slow down your development. But I also know that you don't want to just have a terrible win rate because you're forcing. Yeah, you get where I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, I get that. Understand.
Yeah. Um, But again, that's kind of a tank and kind of a like high masters GM specific thing. For you, you can get away with it for longer, but it's going to get harder as you gain a few hundred more SR here.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
makes sense.
cool. Then anything else?
Nope, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for the session.
No problem.